Imagine if I told you that Elon Musk's real superpower isn't rockets. It isn't cars. It isn't even his insane ability to tweak chaos into existence. His real superpower is this. He knows how to put himself in the middle of a system where information and money are already flowing. And then he uses algorithms to control that flow. And when you control the flow, you don't have to chase money anymore. The system pays you over and over again. From PayPal to Tesla, from SpaceX to X, Musk has repeated the same pattern in different industries. And if you zoom out, you start to see a kind of money algorithm that's hiding in plain sight. In this video, we're going to slow everything down and walk through that pattern step by step. We'll talk about how a small online payment startup became a billion-dollar exit, how Tesla quietly turned your car into a rolling data machine, what Musk is really trying to build with X and payments, and finally, what you and I can actually copy from this, even if we never build rockets or electric cars. So grab a drink, stay with me till the end, and let's unpack how Elon Musk uses algorithms to print money. Not literally, but close enough. Let's rewind to the late 1990s. The internet is still young. Most people are using dial-up. If you wanted to buy something online, it kind of felt like sending your credit card into a black hole. Elon Musk has just sold his first company, Zip2, and instead of disappearing to a beach somewhere, he takes a big chunk of that money and does something most people would call insane. He starts an online bank called X.com. Now, today that doesn't sound crazy. We have online banks, mobile wallets, all of that. But back then, the idea that you would move money through a website was terrifying to a lot of people. The problem was simple to describe, but hard to solve. How do you make moving money through the internet feel as safe as handing cash to someone in person? That's not just a website problem. That's a systems problem. That's an algorithm problem. X.com eventually merges with another company called Confinity, and that merger becomes what we now know as PayPal. PayPal's magic wasn't just that you could send money with an email address. The real magic was in the background. Invisible algorithms fighting fraud in real time. Think about what could go wrong. People using stolen credit cards, fake accounts sending and refunding money, chargebacks that hit the company months later, scammers trying to exploit every loophole possible. If PayPal tried to solve that purely with humans, a room full of people manually checking every transaction, the company would have died, or the costs would have killed the profits. So they started feeding all of those transactions into systems that could learn. This pattern of behavior usually means a normal user. This other pattern, country, time of day, amount, IP address, that's suspicious. Approve. This. Block that. Hold this for review. Over time, the system gets better and better at spotting what looks normal and what looks like fraud. That's the first layer of Musk's money algorithm. Find a place where there's already a huge flow of something, in this case, online payments, and then use algorithms to make that flow cheaper, safer, and faster. You don't need a factory. You don't need a chain of stores. You own the pipes the money runs through. In 2002, eBay buys PayPal in a deal valued at around $1.5 billion. Musk is the largest individual shareholder. That one move turns his earlier bet into somewhere roughly in the mid-hundreds of millions of dollars in cash. So his first big financial win didn't come from oil, or from building physical products, or from some secret resource. It came from being in the middle of a digital money flow with better algorithms than everyone else. That's lesson number one. Now here's what's interesting. After PayPal, Elon doesn't say, "Cool, I've solved money, I'm done." Instead, he asks a different question. What are the problems that will most affect the future of humanity? He lands on a few big ones. The internet and payments, sustainable energy and transport, the future of humanity as a multi-planet species, and more recently, artificial intelligence. So you get companies like Tesla and SpaceX. You get projects like Neuralink. You get his involvement in AI. But the PayPal lessons don't just disappear. He carries that mindset with him. Use data, automate smart decisions, let algorithms do work that human brains can't do at scale. Build systems where you sit in the middle of the flow. And nowhere is that clearer than at Tesla. Most people still think of Tesla as that electric car company with the big screen. Nice cars, fast acceleration, cool design. But if you peel back the layers, Tesla is really three things at once: a car manufacturer, a software company, and a massive AI and data operation. When you buy a Tesla, you're not just buying a battery and some metal. You're buying a computer on wheels that is constantly collecting data. Cameras are watching the road. The car sees lane lines, other cars, pedestrians, traffic lights. It notices how fast you accelerate, how hard you brake, what you do in different weather and traffic conditions. Every time you drive, you're generating more and more information. And here's the key. Tesla is not just throwing that data away. They send it back, feed it into neural networks, train algorithms to recognize patterns in the real world, and then push those improvements back to your car through software updates. That's the PayPal loop all over again. But instead of spotting fraud, the system is learning to drive. Now let's talk about the money side. Tesla doesn't just sell you a car. They also sell you software, things like Autopilot and Full Self-Driving. Depending on the country at the moment in time, Full Self-Driving has been sold for thousands of dollars as a one-time purchase or as a monthly subscription. Think about that from a business perspective. Building the car is expensive. Factories, supply chain, labor, materials, that's heavy. There's a hard limit to how much margin you can squeeze out of manufacturing. But once you've built the software, selling that same code to the next person is almost pure profit. The marginal cost is tiny. So if a significant percentage of Tesla owners decide to pay extra for Full Self-Driving or subscribe to it every month, you've just layered a high-margin software business on top of a lower-margin manufacturing business. That's the algorithm again. Use data from millions of miles driven. Train models to act more and more like a careful driver. Sell access to that intelligence over and over. One car, two income streams, hardware plus software. And in the long term, Musk's vision goes even further. He's talked about turning Teslas into robo-taxis. You're at work, your car doesn't need to sit in the parking lot. Instead, the car goes out and gives rides under a network, earning money for you while you're busy. That's not just a product. That's a whole new flow of money. Tesla would skim a percentage as a platform fee. You get some of the income, Tesla gets some. The algorithm sits in the middle and runs the whole thing. Whether you believe full robo-taxis are close or far away, the pattern is the same. Find a big flow, in this case, people needing to move around. Put your system in the middle. Let algorithms make it efficient. Take a cut. We've seen this at PayPal. We see it at Tesla. But there's another layer to this story. How Musk himself thinks about building systems. Inside his companies, he has what he calls his algorithm for engineering and decision-making. It goes something like this. First, question every requirement. Why does this rule exist? Who said it has to be this way? If the answer is, because we've always done it like that, he'll push harder. Second, delete any part, any process, any step you possibly can. The easiest way to make something better is to make it not exist. Third, only when you've stripped it down, then you simplify and optimize what's left. Fourth, you try to accelerate the cycle time. Make the feedback loop faster. Ship, test, adjust, ship again. And only at the very end, you automate. Not at the beginning, at the end. That's powerful because most people do it backwards. They want to automate a mess. Musk's approach is remove the mess, then let the algorithms handle a clean, tight system. When you apply that thinking to money, you get businesses that look like this. At PayPal, the messy part was online fraud and clunky payments. Strip away the friction, automate the checks, and you're left with fast, almost invisible transactions. At Tesla, the messy part is human driving behavior, distraction, slow reaction times, inconsistent decisions. Strip away what's unnecessary. Let software take over more of those decisions, and you get a system where cars act more like predictable robots than emotional humans. Everywhere you look, the pattern repeats. Identify the flow, clean the system, automate the smart decisions. Now let's talk about X, formerly known as Twitter. On the surface, Twitter was just a social media site. People post, people reply, people argue, people doom scroll. But Musk sees something else hiding in there. A giant network of identities, attention, and communication with money layered on top. If you've been paying attention to what he says about X, you know he doesn't just want it to be a place for tweets. He's talked about making X an everything app. Messaging, content, creators getting paid, and importantly, money payments between users. Think about how powerful that could be if it works. You're already on the app talking to your friends, your audience, your customers. Now imagine sending money as easily as sending a DM, paying a creator instantly inside the platform, buying something directly without leaving the app. When Musk suggests features like that, he's reaching back to his original idea with X.com and PayPal. Make money move as easily as information. Underneath again would be algorithms, fraud detection, risk scoring, recommendation systems that decide what offers and content you see, systems that flag suspicious behavior in real time. If he can turn X into a platform where people not only post, but also trade, subscribe, tip, and transact, then X becomes another pipe that money flows through. Ads are one revenue stream. Payments and financial services could be another. And every time money flows through the system, X takes a tiny cut. Once again, get into the middle of the flow. Use algorithms to keep it efficient and safe. Take a percentage. Different decade, different product, same money logic. So is Elon Musk literally printing money? Of course not. His companies are volatile. They've had big wins and painful losses. Projects get canceled, ideas flop. The stock price swings like crazy. Tesla has had quarters with impressive profits and quarters where those profits drop sharply. SpaceX has had rockets explode spectacularly on live streams. X has scared away advertisers and then tried to win them back. This is not a straight line. It's messy. But that's exactly why it's so useful to ask, what patterns stayed the same, even while the details changed? Here's one way to summarize his money algorithm. Step 1. Find a system where there's already a huge flow of something. Money, data, attention, energy, transportation. Step 2. Figure out where that system is inefficient, unsafe, or full of friction. Step 3. Use algorithms, software, data, AI, to make that system dramatically more efficient or more powerful. Step 4. Put yourself or your company in the position that every transaction, every ride, every payment passes through you. Step 5. Take a small slice of each flow and let scale do the rest. That's what PayPal did with online payments. That's what Tesla is doing with data, driving, and software. That's what X might become with social plus payments. Even SpaceX can be seen partly that way. They use insane amounts of simulation and data to make rocket launches cheaper and more frequent. And when you own the cheapest, most reliable way to get to orbit, a lot of future money flows through you by default. Now, what can you do with this? Most of us are not going to build the next PayPal, Tesla, or SpaceX. And that's fine. But you can still steal pieces of this. Ask yourself these questions. In your job, your business, your niche, where is there already a flow of something? Maybe it's customers walking into stores. Maybe it's people watching videos. Maybe it's invoices, emails, leads, applications, or projects. Where does that flow get stuck? Where is it slow or annoying or error-prone? Could you use even simple algorithms? It could be as basic as spreadsheets, templates, automation tools, or AI assistants to speed that up, clean it up, or make it safer. Can you position yourself as the person or the tool that sits in the middle of that flow? Because if you can, you've just built a tiny version of what Musk does on a massive scale. You don't have to go to Mars. You don't have to build electric cars. But you can build systems. Systems that move information. Systems that move value. Systems that take something messy and make it smooth. The coolest part? Once a system works, you don't need to hustle every single dollar. The system starts earning for you. That might be as simple as a process you sell to clients, a subscription service you run, a template, a product, or a tool that people use again and again. An automation that saves companies time so much, they're happy to pay you every month. Think less about one-time wins and more about recurring flows. That's the mental shift. So when you look at Elon Musk from now on, try not to just see the headlines, the drama, or the memes. Look for the pipes. Where is the money actually flowing? Where is the data moving? Where are the algorithms sitting quietly in the middle? Once you start seeing the world in flows and systems, you'll realize that printing money isn't about magic at all. It's about building the pipes, owning the pipes, and letting the value flow through you on repeat. If you found this breakdown helpful and you want more deep dives into how big players use money systems and algorithms, let me know in the comments. And tell me this, if you had to build just one small money algorithm in your life this year, one system that keeps paying you back, what would it be? Think about it, because somewhere right now, someone is quietly building the system that everyone else will be paying to. Use in 5 years, there's no reason that can't be you, just on your own scale.